Today's episode is sponsored by SaveLaney.com. Insurance Nerds and Profiles in Risk is currently engaging in a fundraiser to raise money for a service dog named Laney, who has been diagnosed with cancer. This service dog is absolutely crucial to one of our friends, an insurance adjuster by the name of Alexander. We would really appreciate your support. Learn more at SaveLaney.com. The question I have for you: what if your pet was more than a pet? What if your pet was also a key part of the family, which they are? What if they were also a key part of your ability to function successfully at work and at life? That is what a service animal is. And it's not an easy process to replace Laney. If the treatment didn't go well, it's not only the financial cost of replacing her, this is an incredibly emotional, difficult situation for any pet owner. And Laney, as a service animal, is so much more than a pet. Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Samir Ahmed. I think I got that correct. Principal Insurance Markets at X by 2. Samir, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Doing great. How about you?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. It is a beautiful winter day in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And by winter, so you're in Michigan, so this is gonna blow your mind. Winter, and we're in the thick of it. Like July is the worst winter month, and today we have a low of 52, a high of 60, and sunny. Now sometimes it's a little colder, but like a really cold day is like 45 and cloudy and no snow.
Yeah.
So like I am in love with this weather basically. So I'm guessing if you're in Michigan, you're enjoying a beautiful summer day today on July 10th as we record.
Yeah, it's definitely good. I haven't been out. I've been indoors working, so I can't really tell you whether it's really nice or not, but it certainly looks nice.
Okay, perfect. So Samir, we always give the guests the chance to give the elevator pitch. What is X by 2?
Yeah, so X by 2 is an IT consultancy focused on high impact projects for a select group of insurance and healthcare organizations. When I say insurance and healthcare, I'm talking about carriers, Life Health PNC, and on the health side, provider organizations, hospitals, large physician groups, companies like that. Been around since 1998, so we're celebrated our 25th year in business just this past May. I've been there for the last 20, and I've been enjoying it and having fun.
Okay, so definitely want to focus on the insurance side. Because that's who the listeners are. They're not provider administrators. So when it comes to carrier IT consultancy work, what type of things do you guys do for carriers, and especially PNC carriers? I mean, I do have listeners from Life and probably some from Health, but the bulk of the listeners are from PNC.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So look, the number one thing is that we want to work on the tough problems that carriers are trying to solve and find technology enabling solutions for them. So traditionally, these have come in the spaces of either core process modernization. So in a PNC setting, that this would be underwriting, billing, claims management. Over the past, I would say 5-ish years, there's been a decent amount of focus on customer experience. So that's brought areas such as policyholder tools, new customer tools, producer tools into the fold, and fancy words like customer experience, right, become a thing. So we have the services around that. Then the third area is around data and analytics. Our role again is in enablement. a typical sort of example of that would be that a data scientist these days, on average, depending on which source you look at for data, will spend 60, 70, 80% of their time on cleansing data. And then the remaining time is actually analyzing and doing meaningful value added work. So if somebody can automate that grunt work, right, it frees up more time for the analyst to do work. So that's what I mean by enablement, right? Getting access to data, making it clean, making it usable and available for whoever really wants to use it. This area actually nicely dovetails with our customer experience capability, where we also provide visualization support to analysts. So they'll do the analysis, they'll come up with conclusions. How do you communicate that effectively? So we have our team that works on customer experience that helps with that. A fourth area is around emerging technologies. So this keeps moving, right? Something is emerging today, tomorrow it will become mainstream. So currently our focus is on machine learning and artificial intelligence use cases. And then the last area is we provide services for CIOs and CTOs. Typical example there would be a new executive joins an organization, wants to understand what they walked into, so we may help them with a assessment of current situation, opportunities for improvement, or they may come to us with, hey, our business team has a strategy of going from one state today to 15 states in 2 years. Help me understand how well we're positioned to execute on that. What do we need to keep doing? What do we need to do better? And what are we not doing that we need to start doing? So some services for CIOs and CTOs like that. So that's in a nutshell 5 areas where we offer carriers some services.
Okay. Who is usually bringing you in? Is it usually the CIO or is it the business?
Yeah, it's a mixture. Traditionally, it used to be IT leadership because they were in the business of enabling delivering projects for their business customers and looking for partners. More and more, we do have contacts with business leaders. In the data and analytics space, that's very common because in some organizations it sits outside of IT. And then, folks like head of underwriting, head of claims, head of distribution, they may talk to us around distribution tools or self-service tools for customers and prospects.
Okay. So basically, wherever carriers are facing technology challenges, you can provide a bespoke consulting service, basically.
I would not say wherever. I would say areas that are tough problems. So we are not a full-service IT company, right? We will not do managed services. We will not do run and support. We work on tough problems, looking to move the needle in a meaningful way for the organization.
Okay, so that is, and I did notice that in your elevator pitch, the focus on tough problems. So that is super interesting. Why focus on the harder things? Is that a matter of like it's a good differentiation for the company, or like how did that come to be that you guys focused on the tougher problems?
Yeah. So it's a combination of things, right? It's a little bit of who we are as a firm, which ultimately is outcome of people that work at the firm. So we hire folks with strong technology, computer science backgrounds, and have good, strong fundamentals. And we hire from very select schools, right? So we're a mid-sized consultancy. We can be highly selective in our hiring, right? So because we hire people like that, they actually want to work on interesting things. They don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over. One of the traits of engineers is that we are lazy people. All right. So we abide by the principle of once is an exception, twice is a coincidence, third time, hey, there's a pattern here. Let me figure something out to make a repeatable process. Right. So we don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over as individuals that work at the firm. Now, because of that, right, we want to find new, interesting problems. We solve one problem. You might solve it a second, third time. Like I said, at that point, like, okay, here's a repeatable process and go run with it. We'll tell our prospects or clients. But then the flip side of it, right, as an organization, is that we're able to add meaningful value to our clients, which is different than what they find in the marketplace with consultancies, big or small. There'll be many consultancies that provide full service IT. That's their place to be. There'll be companies that specialize in specific product implementations, like in the P&C case, right? A Guidewire partner, for example. Or these days, there's a lot of recent focus on Salesforce partners, right? Things like that. So we have experts that can do work in these products as well, but they're generalists. They're not specialists. And today they're doing a project on claims modernization with Guidewire. And tomorrow they'll turn around and do that with Duck Creek. And the day after they'll do it with whoever the up-and-coming insurtech is that is looking to upend Guidewire. So that's a long way to answer your question, right? It's a combination of inherently the people that work at the company, they desire working on interesting problems. And as a company, we're able to offer something to the market that is not quite very common.
Okay. So how does it work? So let's say I'm a CIO or a head of a business unit, and I have a gnarly problem that it's not a matter of implementation. We just don't know how to. We know that technology can help this, but we don't know which technology to bring in. We have an idea. Everybody's talking about ChatGPT, so we should probably use that, right? But we really, so we give you a call,
Yeah.
and we're like, hey, Samir, we're looking for somebody like you guys with insurance experience and an appetite for weird problems. What does the process look like?
Yeah, so first is, right, we want to understand actually what is the problem space, what is the specific challenge, what is success look like, right? How well defined is this? And then a little bit of the makeup of the organization, right? Are we going to be a good fit for this organization or not? What we found is that mid-sized carriers that are growth-oriented, they are the best fit for us. So once we've gone through the initial understanding of the problem and making sure that we can be a good fit, we try to assess what stage is this in, right? Is this at the stage of we've got a problem, don't know what to do, have some ideas, but which direction to go in is not clear. So we will typically start with a workshop and conduct a strategy exercise or project with them. And there, what we're trying to understand is, business goals and objectives. What is the outcome that you're looking for? What's the current state from a process perspective, from a people perspective, from a technology perspective? Identify, symptoms, then decompose those symptoms into root causes and impacts. Then we'll get into some sort of envisioning of what could the future look like. So this involves understanding ideal state, ideal end state for our client. Then we'll do a gap assessment of, okay, you are here, you want to be there. What's the delta and how do you get from here to there? Which informs a roadmap, right? Maybe it's a 3, 4, 5-step process. Maybe it's a one-shot process. It just depends on the specifics. And at the end of that, right, we'll have sort of this recommendation around this is your objectives. This is where you are today. This is where you want to be. Here are some strategies for go from A to B. And what the profile will look like in terms of spend, in terms of timeline. And leave our customer with the decision point of do they want to proceed or not. And if they want to proceed, then, aggressive, conservative, middle of the road options. This will, depending on the nature of the problem, right, it could be anywhere from 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks to go through this process. So oftentimes, right, then clients will say, okay, well, great, thanks for helping us understand this. What you're proposing makes a lot of sense. Now help us execute. So we have 2 core competencies in the company, right? One is strong technology fundamentals, and the second is execution of complex projects that could be at the scale of core systems modernization, could be smaller, but there's some kind of complexity where your typical project management doesn't cut it. So they'll ask us to help them with execution. So we build typically hybrid teams. Well, one of the core philosophies in our firm is that we want to build competency in our clients, not dependency on us. And this goes back to the desire of our people to not work on the same thing over and over again. So we're motivated to build that competency from day one. So the hybrid team means few folks from X by 2, few folks from the client organization. They may have other staffing partners. If there's a product involved, there may be some specialists from the product company or other system integrator type companies. And then the timeline is whatever it ends up being, and get to success and launch as quickly as possible. So long-winded answer there to how one starts and what the journey looks like, but hopefully it adds some perspective.
No, perfect. And I love that on the website you have clearly listed 20 years, over 100 successful projects, and I love the list of carriers you have done projects for, right? So I assume if they're on the website, I can mention them publicly. If not, you'll tell me to cut it out. But you've got some really awesome carriers: Jewelers Mutual, Auto Owners, the Farm Bureau of Michigan, American Modern, who I used to work for, West Bend, Kentucky Farm Bureau, Michigan Millers. So solid list of carriers that you've done projects for. So that makes me feel good if I'm recommending you to a carrier. You guys have significant experience in that world. So kind of the last question, I'm curious if you can share any great client success stories, and you're free to share the company name if you're able. If not, just saying a PNC carrier or a medium-sized PNC carrier or whatever is perfectly fine. But I'd love to hear any story of a particularly difficult problem and how you guys were able to bring a great solution to the client.
Yeah. So what I'll share is not so much about the solution, right, but rather the experience. This is not like any one project experience. There's several of them, and I've mentioned, right, I've been with the company 20 years, so I've seen this play out through my career. When we work with this mid-sized, growth-oriented carrier, their typical situation is going to be that they're doing well from a business perspective, right? They've got good books of business, they're growing. They've been able to manage with limited resources in terms of people, in terms of technology, and that's actually what enables their success when they were smaller. But they are now at a point where they have needs that are complex, that require expertise, and they're not so big that they have all of that expertise on staff. So they have a need, an appetite to partner with firms like ours. So, but these kinds of firms, not only do we come and solve whatever the problem is. So, as an example, we did a claims modernization for such a company. As part of that, right, we bring in processes for how to execute projects, skill sets that the people on the team need. So, hiring practices are influenced by that. How to go about building competency within team members, because we're incented to do that from day one, and they see us doing it. They take those processes on long after the project is done. And so at the end of this type of project, right, the client basically comes back and says, this was fantastic. We accomplished what we set out to do, modernizing our claims processing. But beyond that, what we did not expect, we have just set the bar for how projects should be run, how to deliver projects on an ongoing basis. And executives, right, like even a chief operating officer, a chief execution officer, right, or even a president of a company may take note of this and say, within the organization, this is the standard that we want to see for how projects are run. So this is like a repeated theme that I've seen on projects, and it's typical when we work with this mid-market, growth-oriented carrier.
That is fantastic. I absolutely love that, and I can totally see that. A super regional or a regional might not have the project management department that a gigantic carrier has out of necessity. Yes, that is a fantastic side benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. A large carrier will have a group of architects. They'll have a group of specialists in various products. They'll have a well-established PMO with well-defined processes. And, we may snicker our nose at what those processes are, but at least they have them, right? Look, we got to have fun, right? So, so with mid-size companies, monostate, regional, right? But because they're growth-oriented, the need is there, but the capability is not yet there. And what we like the most is to help them build that competency for the long haul.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time today. Very, very, very interesting. And I think that a lot of our listeners will find what you guys do to be interesting and kind of the kind of thing that they need. When this goes live, I will tag both you on LinkedIn. I will tag both you and the company on LinkedIn. And thank you very much for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks can find us at xby2.com. Like you noted, I'm available on LinkedIn. You can find me on the website. Email me. Happy to have a conversation. And look forward to continue doing high-impact work for the industry and help it move forward.